4 a.m. Harlem, New York, August 23, 1988. Mike Tyson walked out of a clothing store with a leather jacket. Then a voice cut through the darkness. "Yo, Tyson, you think you're tough?" What happened in the next 60 seconds left one man with a shattered face and Mike Tyson with a broken hand. And it was all caught on security cameras. This is the street fight that almost destroyed Mike Tyson's career. And it started over a leather jacket. Summer 1988. Mike Tyson was on top of the world. 21 years old, undisputed heavyweight champion. 35 wins, 31 by knockout. He'd just destroyed Michael Spinks in 91 seconds. The world feared him. Opponents quit before fights even started. But Mike's personal life was chaos. His marriage to Robin Givens was falling apart. The stress was eating him alive. He couldn't sleep, so he'd drive around New York City at night, sometimes until dawn, just to clear his head. "I'd go to Harlem at 3, 4 in the morning," Mike later recalled. "Nobody bothered me there. It was quiet, peaceful. I could just be Mike, not the champion." On this particular night, early morning really, Mike was cruising through Harlem in his Bentley. Around 3:30 a.m., he passed a clothing store called Dapper Dan's. The lights were still on. Mike pulled over. What Mike didn't know was that someone was watching him, someone with a grudge. Dapper Dan's was legendary in Harlem, an underground fashion shop that stayed open 24 hours for celebrities, athletes, and hustlers. If you wanted custom leather, you went to Dapper Dan's. Mike had been there before. He liked the jackets. Mike walked in. No security, no entourage, just Mike. He was looking at leather jackets when the door opened behind him. Mitch, blood green, walked in. 6 feet 5 inches, 230 pounds. Former heavyweight boxer. He'd fought Mike 2 years earlier in 1986 and lost a 10-round decision. But Mitch never got over that loss, not the fight itself, the money. Mitch believed Don King, Mike's promoter, had cheated him out of his fair purse. He blamed Mike, he blamed everyone, and he'd been drinking. Heavily. "Tyson," Mitch's voice was loud, aggressive. "We need to talk." Mike turned around, recognized him immediately. "Mitch, what's up, man?" "What's up?" Mitch stepped closer, pointing his finger at Mike's chest. "What's up is you owe me money. You and Don King robbed me." Mike sighed. "Man, I don't handle the money. That's Don King's business. Talk to him." "Nah," Mitch said, his voice rising. "I'm talking to you. You're the champion, right? You got all that money. I got nothing. You think that's fair?" The tension in the store was thick. Dapper Dan himself was watching from behind the counter, ready to call police. Mike could have walked away, should have walked away, but Mitch kept pushing. "You ain't nothing without them gloves," Mitch said. "Take away that boxing ring, you just another punk from Brooklyn." Mike's jaw clenched. That old rage started bubbling up. "Mitch, go home. You're drunk." "I ain't drunk. I'm awake, and I see you for what you are, a coward." That's when Mike said the words that changed everything. "I'm the champion," Mike said, his voice low and dangerous. "What are you?" Mitch Green lunged at Mike. No warning, no pause, just pure aggression. He threw a wild right hand aimed at Mike's head. Big mistake. Mike slipped the punch. That peekaboo defense Cuss taught him, and countered instantly, a perfect left hook to Mitch's body. The sound of the impact echoed through the store. Mitch's eyes went wide. He'd forgotten how hard Mike hit. But Mitch was 6 feet 5 inches and full of alcohol-fueled rage. He swung again, caught Mike with a grazing blow to the side of the head. Mike stumbled back, surprised. This wasn't a boxing ring. This was a street fight. No rules. No referee. Mike reset. That cold, calculating look came into his eyes. The same look Trevor Berbick saw. The same look Michael Spinks saw. Death was coming. They were now in the middle of Dapper Dan's store, knocking over displays, leather jackets flying everywhere. Mitch threw another punch. Mike ducked under it, stepped inside, and did what Mike Tyson does best. He threw a right uppercut. But this wasn't a boxing glove. This was bare knuckles. 220 pounds of muscle behind it. Aimed directly at Mitch Green's face. The sound of the impact was sickening. Bone on bone. Flesh tearing. Mitch's head snapped back violently. Blood exploded from his nose. His eye immediately started swelling. Mitch staggered backward, crashed into a clothing rack, and fell to the floor. His face was already unrecognizable. His left eye was swelling shut. His nose was clearly broken, pushed to the side of his face. Blood was everywhere. But Mike wasn't celebrating. He was staring at his own right hand in horror.
"Something's wrong," Mike said to Dapper Dan. His hand was already swelling. The pain was immediate and intense. When you punch someone without gloves, especially with Mike Tyson's power, something has to give. Usually, it's the other guy's face, but sometimes it's your own hand. Mike had broken his hand, multiple fractures in his right hand, the same hand he'd used to destroy 31 professional fighters, now broken on a street in Harlem at 4 a.m. Sirens started wailing in the distance. Someone had called the cops. Mitch was on the floor, semi-conscious, blood pooling around him. Mike was holding his broken hand, pain shooting up his arm. Dapper Dan ran over. "Mike, you gotta go, now, before the cops get here." Mike looked at Mitch, then at his hand, then at Dapper Dan. "I can't just leave him like this." "Yes, you can. Go." Mike stumbled out of the store, got in his Bentley, and drove away. His hand was throbbing, swelling, turning purple. He drove straight to the hospital. By morning, the story was everywhere. Mike Tyson's street brawl in Harlem. Champion breaks hand in fight. Tyson attacked by former opponent. Mitch Green went to the hospital with a shattered eye socket, broken nose, and severe facial lacerations. He would need surgery. His face would never look the same. Mike went to the hospital with a broken right hand, 3 fractures. He would need surgery too, and he'd be out of the ring for months. The media went crazy. Some called Mike a thug. Others said Mitch got what he deserved. The New York Police Department investigated. Both men claimed self-defense. Neither wanted to press charges. The case was eventually dropped, but the damage was done. Not legally, professionally. Don King was furious, not because Mike got hurt, because Mike could have lost everything. "You're the heavyweight champion of the world," Don King told Mike. "You don't fight on streets. You fight in rings where we make millions of dollars. What if you'd killed him? What if you'd been arrested? What if you'd permanently damaged your hand?" Mike knew Don was right, but he couldn't help himself. "I disrespected him," Mike said. "What was I supposed to do?" "Walk away," Don said. "Champions walk away." Mike's hand healed. He fought again, destroyed opponents. But that night in Harlem stayed with him, not because he regretted defending himself, but because he realized how close he'd come to losing everything over nothing. Mitch Green sued Mike for $25 million, claimed Mike ambushed him, claimed excessive force. The case dragged on for years, eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. But Mitch's boxing career was over. His face was permanently damaged. Years later, Mike would say, "I shouldn't have fought him that night. I was the champion. I had everything to lose. He had nothing to lose. But I let my ego take over, and I almost destroyed my career over a drunk guy talking trash in a clothing store." The night Mike Tyson fought Mitch Green in Harlem wasn't about boxing. It was about ego, pride, respect. The code of the streets that Mike grew up with. The code that says you don't let anyone disrespect you, ever. But champions operate on a different code. Champions have too much to lose. Champions walk away. Champions don't fight drunk guys in clothing stores at 4 a.m. Mike learned that lesson the hard way, with a broken hand, a media circus, and a lawsuit that cost him millions. Mitch Green lived the rest of his life with a destroyed face, a reminder that challenging Mike Tyson, even drunk, even in a street fight, was a catastrophic mistake. Mike Tyson lived the rest of his career with a memory, a reminder that the most dangerous fights aren't in the ring. They're the ones that happen when you forget who you are and let your anger control you. August 23, 1988, 4 a.m., Harlem. Two men fought over ego and money. Both lost. One lost his face, the other almost lost everything. And all of it started over a leather jacket. If this incredible story moved you, subscribe and hit that like button. Have you ever let your ego get you into trouble? Share your story in the comments.